in all fairness, to see who will start with opening remarks and who will start with the first question. Mr. Ricardo Rodriguez won the coin flip, in which case, Mr. Ricardo Rodriguez, you may start your opening remarks.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to thank the History Club for putting this forum, town hall, together. It's great when we have the opportunity to meet different individuals, voters, and also you will also have the opportunity to meet the candidates. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my history, being that it's a history club. My name is Ricardo Rodriguez, and I was born and raised here in Edinburgh, Texas, not too far from here from the university. I was born to two proud parents which are here in the audience today. We have Ricardo Rodriguez, who's here in the audience, and also my mom, Olga. And I was born to a 16-year-old mother and a 17-year-old father. And not too much education. I think they got up to the 8th grade. And the only means of work was just field work. That's it. We didn't have any other means of work. So they took us along with them, and we migrated across the state and also across the country. Spent some time in Moultrie, Georgia, Collis, Mississippi, Immokalee, Florida, Mill Street, Texas, Bovina, Texas, Hereford, Texas. Spent a lot of time in those different parts of the town. But what's more important is that during those times, which were humble beginnings, my parents taught me good morals, good principles, good values, learned a lot. Grew up with humble people. That's what our family's about, from humble beginnings, humble people. So doing that kind of work, my dad gave me an option. He says, you go educate yourself or you continue working with me in the fields, which he still does. They still migrate to New Mexico every year. My dad's in the watermelon business. He's been doing it for a long time, along with my mom. Now that no one's home, my mom goes along with him. And it's, you know, sometimes my dad wants to send her back, but he has to maintain and you know, put up with my mom. But it was a great experience. So I went off and I got educated. I graduated from the University of Texas, San Antonio, and then went on to law school at Thurgood Marshall School of Law. Graduated from there, came back, started my practice. During the 5.5 years that I was practicing, I was elected as city commissioner here for the city of Edinburgh. Proudly served on the city commission. And during that time, I was practicing law, diversified in the law, did a little bit of everything, criminal, civil, family, juvenile. And then came the opportunity to run for the 92nd District Court bench. About 7 years ago. Campaign, ran a positive, clean campaign back about 7 years ago. And I asked the voters of the Ottawa County to give me the opportunity to serve them as the 92nd District Court judge. And they did. They gave me the opportunity at the age of 34, which I was one of the youngest state district judges in the state of Texas. People were concerned that I was too young, maybe worried about the fact that maybe I didn't have too much experience, but still gave me the trust. And we did a good job. We treated people with dignity and respect on the bench. We protected the judicial system to the best of our ability. And we made sure that everyone who was in the courtroom got a fair shake. We made sure that the scales of justice were never unjustly swayed. And we made sure that when people left the courtroom, they said to themselves, we got a fair shake in that courtroom. Because that's what it's about justice. Very first case that I tried was a capital murder case. As a matter of fact, there's 1 or 2 prosecutors in here right now that tried the case for the Dean's office. And that was the first case that I presided over as a district judge, a capital murder case. And several other cases. It was a great experience on the bench. We learned a lot. We made decisions every day, instantly and constantly. We made decisions on people's lives. So I made sure that I made the best, correct decision following the law because it was important. People's lives were at stake. People's life, liberty, and property were at stake. So we made sure that we did the best that we could. I know there was individuals who would grade our papers upstairs, but at the end of the day, we made sure that we followed the law to the best of our ability. And that's what we did for 6.5 years. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here before you. We've been campaigning hard, working hard for about 6 months. Now we're running for district attorney for the county of Hidalgo. We feel that we can do a lot more in the district attorney's office. I'm proud to say that I've worked with several prosecutors who have come before the court, do very good work. There's a lot of women who are here this evening. Like I said, the first case that we tried was a capital murder case. It was a great experience. And after that, all the other cases that we tried were a great experience as well. So we have a lot to offer, ladies and gentlemen. At the end, when we're done, When I have my opportunity to tell you, or give you my closing, I'll tell you what changes we want to make as your district attorney. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ricardo. Mr. Guerra?
Thank you. I want to thank the History Club for putting on this debate, this public forum for the District Attorney's Office. One, let me say that my roots go back to my family, also migrants, many years ago. I was born to a poor family where we were cotton pickers. And we also, like my opponent's family, suffered extreme hardships to make a living when there was no assistance of any sort. Now, I don't say these things to curry favor from you. I don't say these things for you to sympathize or to feel pity for me. What I do tell you is my life experience as a child, a working child, helping a family that had to make ends meet. My family owned a little tortilla factory. My mom made the best tamales in South Texas, as far as I'm concerned. And I sold them door to door when I was in school. It might have been embarrassing when I walked up to some doorways and knocked on the door, and a fellow student opened the door, and I felt like a tamalero, but that's what I was. Not realizing that down the road, these values that my mom and dad taught me also would guide me down the road to make hard decisions and to make sure that what I did was to do right. Now, we went to Florida like my opponent's family. We lived in an army tent near the swamps there, the Everglades. Now, we were not provided very many facilities for farm workers. Now, I worked in Arkansas picking cotton. I dug potatoes in Alabama. I picked grapes in California. I started picking cotton in West Texas when I was 6 years old. I was sent back to the second grade because I didn't spend enough days 1 year in school. I graduated from Edinburgh High School at the age of 20. Graduated second in my class. When I was embarrassed at being sent to second grade, I set out to make sure that they had made a bad decision. And I ultimately proved that by graduating second in my class. I don't say that to sound mightier than you. We all are equal. Now, what I do say is that my background for 31 years as a prosecutor has been based on the values that I learned. I saw my mom interrogated by Border Patrol agents at the checkpoint for 2 hours, claiming that a woman, a wife who had come into the United States at the turn of the 19th century, was being accused of forging a U.S. passport. Now, those are things that have built me into the person that I am now. I stand for right, and that is the job of a prosecutor. You make some hard decisions. I sent the son of my law partner to 60 years in prison. Now, somebody else would have had that case sent to another prosecutor, special prosecutor. We prosecuted that individual. Now, I went before the legislature and I started the practice of law by county court law judges. They were practicing in federal court, representing drug criminals. And then they were coming over to the courthouse doing part-time work when thousands of cases were being stagnated in our office in the court system. I also opposed some of their salary increases that would have been illegal under the state laws that says that county court law judges can make $1,000 less than a district judge, and a district judge will make $1,000 less than an appeals judge, and so forth. I opposed those situations as a district, and I made some hard decisions. The district attorney's office has to make hard decisions on a daily basis. Now, we have made, this is our 6th debate, and I'm going to bear out some differences between my opponent and I. In the 6 debates, to 9 to 6, I will point out some differences and some things that my opponent has said that I will call him to account. One, I've been accused of selective prosecution. I've been accused of current political favor, yet I've prosecuted judges, district judges, county court law judges. I've also been reprimanded by a state bar because one judge from out of town came in and threw out a case of theft against a county court law judge who had taken $9,000 from a political worker. hiring a lawyer to represent him for $1,000, got $10,000, he got $9,000. The visiting judge threw out the case. I got reprimanded because I said a non-kind thing, that perhaps that judge, that chimpanzee might have made a decision. I got reprimanded by State Bar and I accepted it. But that's a point that I took. As a district attorney, you have to make some hard decisions. In the military, I learned to make some hard decisions. I was a lieutenant in the United States Army Security Agency. I had the highest clearance in the military. Not even the president has a clearance. I don't say this to feel great or to be bigger than you. I'm equal like you under the law. As a district attorney, the state's interest is represented in this county on a daily basis, and I have a professional staff that should not be accused of selective prosecution just to curry favor from voters. These are things that are not fair. I do not say anything wrong against my opponent because it would be unethical, it would be unprofessional under the State Bar ethics rules. Yet, I've been accused of things that are not fair. I want you to look at what is said, what is the experience, and then you decide whether experience counts. I have 33 years of law enforcement experience. My opponent has never tried a case in court. He has heard cases as a judge, but that's a difference. He has not been reversed in criminal cases because my staff kept him from making error. That is the job of a well-trained staff. I have a well-trained staff in Hidalgo County. And I hope that you do not make a change because the wheel is not broken. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. Okay, we're going to start the questionnaire now. Because Mr. Ricardo Rodriguez won the coin flip, he will get to start again with the questions. The first question will be, what do you believe makes you uniquely qualified to be District Attorney of the Hidalgo County?
I believe what makes me qualified is the experience that I've had on the district bench, the decisions that I've made on the bench, the cases I've presided on the bench. I've presided and made decisions instantly and constantly on cases that affect people's lives. I've been in the courtroom, I've been in the trenches, I've made decisions based on Texas evidence, on a criminal procedure, and also on the law itself. Every day that I was on the bench, those are the decisions that I made. I was not sitting behind a desk delegating duties to someone else. I was making those decisions every day in the courtroom. And even behind a desk, I was making those decisions that dealt with people's lives. That's what I did for 6.5 years. Now, what makes me unique also is that I want to move forward. I want to do different things in the DA's office. I want to have stronger ties with law enforcement. I want to strengthen the Public Integrity Investigation Division. I want to take care of individuals who have mental health issues. I want to find a place for them. I just don't want to send them to prison or probation. We need to find some place where we can help them, put them in a good environment, help them with their problems, give them good structure, make sure that they don't come in and out of jail, and we save taxpayers' dollars so we can put them somewhere where we can help them. Those are the things that today make the Cabo Rodriguez unique as to the District Attorney's Office. We want to keep making moves, we want to keep making changes. Mr. Guerra says that if it's not broken, you don't have to fix it. I'm not saying that it's broken, we just have to move forward with these new ideas and implement these procedures. We have to also prioritize the prosecution of cases. We have to deal with child abuse cases, sex abuse cases, domestic violence cases. These cases, we have to put them up in the upfront. We have to also make sure that we protect our victims of crimes. Right now, we don't have a coordinator that helps them out. We don't have a coordinator that's in charge of helping these victims that can guide them through the problems that they've had. That's what Ricardo Rodriguez offers as District Attorney for the county.
Mr. Guerra, same question.
Well, there again, I have to differ with my esteemed opponent. I have one of the fastest capital murder verdicts in the state of Texas. But I don't say that to glorify me. When I started the DA's office back in 1977 as an assistant, I prosecuted murder cases. I didn't like the practice of defense, because I didn't like defendants that were guilty walking out of their courthouse. I've dedicated myself to doing the right thing as a prosecutor. Now, right now, I have 59 lawyers working for us, working for me. I have to delegate duties to them. As an administrator of that kind of office, you're not talking about Willacy County that has maybe 3 prosecutors. You're talking about a county that handles over 20,000 cases a year. How can I tie myself in a capital murder case now when I don't have to, because I have some seasoned professional lawyers that will run circles around my opponent and me because they practice capital murder litigation day in and day out. Why do you want a DA to tie himself for the glory to be in a courtroom when you have 59 lawyers out there needing your decision-making ability and your experience of 33 years in law enforcement? These are things that you need to look at that my opponent is willing to say. I don't know what he wants to change. My office is set under the Code of Criminal Procedure. I receive cases. Those that are arrested, I clear the innocent ones because that is a primary duty of the DA, to clear an innocent person, not to incriminate an innocent person. I do that on a daily basis with thousands of cases for my staff. I don't take the credit, but somebody has to be there at the helm. You can't have a ship without a rudder. You can't have a ship without a captain. I am the captain of the District Attorney's Office by your vote. Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez, would you like to take a 30-second rebuttal?
When the experience is attacked, you have to look at, Mr. Guerra started at one point. He had a 1.5 or 2 years of experience as a prosecutor when he started as a district attorney. I'm offering you the experience of 5 years of being a seasonal attorney, practicing law, and I did try cases in the courtroom as an attorney. And I have 6.5 years as being your district judge and doing work in the courtroom, making decisions every day in the courtroom, based on the law. There's a lot of attorneys in this room today that went before the courtroom and saw that I made decisions every day, constantly on the law. So you have to look at the experience. If you want to talk about experience, today I have more experience to offer.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rodriguez, that's time. Moving on to the next question. Mr. Guerra, in your opinion, what is our community, the Rio Grande Valley, in need of the most?
Well, the most that we need in the Hidalgo County, really, the Hidalgo County, not the valley. I'm not going to speak for the valley. I want to tell you that Hidalgo County needs resources. We need to build up our tax base so that we can have an infrastructure of taxes from appraised values so that we can support law enforcement, so we can have better streets and better roads and a safer community. Now, the district attorney's office right now has 59 lawyers. We have a population of about 800,000, 900,000 to 1 million. El Paso County has a population of, I believe, about 1 million. They have 84 lawyers in the district attorney's office, or 80 thereabouts. And they have about 30 lawyers in the county attorney's office. They have over 100 lawyers in El Paso. In Hidalgo County, the district attorney has 59 lawyers that handle the county attorney's work and the district attorney's work. We are very efficient in what we do. We've been doing it for a long time under my leadership. Now, the growing problem is narcotics, alcohol abuse. We have established programs through the probation department mandated by the state to try to rehabilitate young people through pretrial diversion programs that we have established. And when we do that, we incur the accusation that we're not being equal across the board. Of course you can't be. If we have young people's programs where we don't mark them after a DWI or a small amount of narcotics, we put them through that special program, and they're successful in their supervision, in their conduct, the law allows me to dismiss that case for that young person. I have established that program in Hidalgo County. I do not want to ruin young people as a district attorney because the state's interest is to preserve and protect the community.
I'm sorry, Mr. Guerra, that's your time. Mr. Rodriguez, same question.
Today, I got the endorsement from CLEAP. That's a law enforcement division. And why did I get the endorsement from CLEAP? It's because law enforcement is asking to have a better relationship with the district attorney's office. And that's what the community needs. We need to have a stronger relationship with law enforcement. Why? So we can be able to work the cases faster, better. That way when the cases get delivered to the district attorney's office, we have a solid case. ready for prosecution. Not for conviction, but for prosecution. And also, at the district attorney's office, there are great prosecutors there. I've never said that there's not one good prosecutor in the district attorney's office. There's good people there that do good work. I've seen them in my courtroom. I've had different assistant district attorneys in my courtroom that have done great work. But they need more help. They need more help. They need more pay. They do. They're long overdue. Mr. Guerra talks about the budget, that is, there's not enough money. We have to find ways to help the assistant district attorneys and our law enforcement so they can have more pay, so we can keep them more, so it can be more longevity. So these individuals won't go after a year or two, because there's some good prosecutors that we've had and we have at the district attorney's office. So this is what we need to do. We need to make sure that we find, implement ways where we can get money to help our prosecutors, so we can keep them there, because they do good work. And if we create different divisions in the district attorney's office, chief positions, where we keep them, and seasonal attorneys, we won't lose them. They'll stay there. And I want them to stay, because these individuals have done great work at the district attorney's office. But we need to get them more pay, we need to get them more help, we need to get more individuals in the district attorney's office, so we can streamline our cases and we can get them out and dispose of them faster.
Thank you. Mr. Guerra, would you like to take a 30-second rebuttal?
Yes. My opponent does not know my budget. He doesn't know that I've forfeited thousands and millions of dollars in drug monies that I have used to supplement the salaries of my professional staff. That's how I've been able to make ends meet. I've tried to keep my staff by supplementing their salaries with drug monies. I don't need to go out and ask and beg more money from the commissioner's court. I've saved money. I use drug monies to keep my professional staff. That's what I've done, and I ask you to allow me to continue to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. Your time is up. Mr. Rodriguez, in your opinion, what justifies seeking the death penalty?
It's a crime itself. You know, we have to take it on a case-by-case basis, and in the last, say, year or two or three, I mean, there hasn't been a case that deals with the death penalty. There was maybe 4 or 5 cases in my court when I was a judge that they could have sought the death penalty, but that was the decision was made not to seek the death penalty. It just depends on the case itself, the crime. And I want to tell the voters of Hidalgo County that I'm not going to be afraid to seek the death penalty on cases that deserve it. There's cases out there that are egregious, and if there are cases that are going to hurt our community, and people don't get the message, and they think that they can commit a crime and the death penalty is not going to be sought because of cost or budget, because of monies, I want them to know that and think that. I want them to know that Ricardo Rodriguez will go and prosecute the case to the fullest of our ability, and to seek the death penalty when these cases need to be sought as to the crime itself. The DA's, Ricardo Rodriguez, will not hold back in seeking the death penalty on offenses because of monies, because of budget concerns. We want the public to know that we're going to take an aggressive approach as to the death penalty, as to the case-by-case basis.
Thank you. Mr. Guerra, same question.
Since my opponent has never been a prosecutor, a capital prosecutor, capital murder prosecutor, he doesn't understand the decision-making process in capital litigation. First, you have to look at how heinous the crime was. You have to look at the age of the individual. We're not going to seek the death penalty against 18-year-olds. We're not going to ask the death penalty for 20-year-olds or 21-year-olds. You have to look at the facts. Make sure that you have enough evidence to convince 12 people that you're going to find this person guilty of 1 or 2 punishments, life without parole, or the death penalty, the ultimate sentence. Of course, you have to look at the history of the individual. One of the requirements is that you have to prove through some sort of evidence, direct or indirect, that the person is future dangerous. He heard cases, and maybe he didn't understand when he was hearing those capital murder cases as a judge. But you have to prove that the person, through the acts alone, plus his prior criminal record, deserves the death penalty. I have a case right now that we're not seeking the death penalty. It has nothing to do with money. It's two young thugs that went looking for a young lady in the home, raped her, tried to kill her twice, they strangled her, and what have you, and then they set the house ablaze. I'm not asking for the death penalty on case, even though they deserve it. I cannot prove that they're future dangerous through the evidence that I have. The act alone is heinous. I would execute them. But the law does not allow me to be both prosecutor, judge, and executioner. My job is to represent the interests of the state. The interest of the state is not to execute young people, and that is a U.S. Supreme Court mandate. This is basic law that my opponent has no experience in enforcing.
Mr. Rodriguez, 30-second rebuttal.
It's not the experience about, I don't know,
Yeah,
just,
there we go.
it's not the experience of forcing the capital murder going forward with the death penalty that matters. It's on a case-by-case basis. We have to look at the case, we have to look at the facts, we have to look at the evidence. But surely we want to send a message out there that we can't have egregious offenses being committed following the capital murder where there's an opportunity to seek the death penalty. We have to send a message out there that we're not going to, let individuals do what they want.
And I apologize for the mishap with the microphone.
You can give more time if you want.
I'm sorry?
Give more time if you want to.
We want to make sure we get the audience questions in. We will be taking a question in from the audience. The question is to Mr. Rodriguez. With all the corruption recently, how did we get here, and where do we go from here to fix it?
All along, during the debates, forums, my message has been that the people of Hidalgo County are tired of corruption. And I've been saying all along that we need to strengthen our public integrity investigation division. Mr. Guerra says that we have one. I know we have investigators, but if we don't, we have to create a public integrity division where we're ready to go after any kind of public corruption that's occurring in Hidalgo County. We have to make sure that we hold all our public officials accountable, the same as everyone else. And the corruption has been going on for years. And I feel that with the presence of the Public Integrity Division, maybe we can avoid some of the corruption. You have Panama. The Panama unit that's been lingering around for a long time. We have these things going on, and we have cases that are being dismissed and not looked into. The statement is, well, they were arrested and they're in federal court, but how about the victims of those crimes? We don't dismiss these cases. We look into them. We find out what's going on. We try to dig deeper into these cases, find out how these victims were affected. What monies were taken, what properties were taken. They're still victims, regardless if they were part of an investigation or had drugs with them. They're victims from an abuse of law enforcement. And there was a poll that was taken, out of 800 people, and 85% of those people came back and said, we're tired of public corruption. We're tired of public corruption, and that's what we want to enforce.
Mr. Guerra?
I don't know one person in the United States that likes public corruption. But because of greed, because of the greed for more money and power, we have it. Now, my opponent has been hammering about an integrity unit that he wants to go out and search for public corruption. Now, we have a federal public corruption task force that he does not know about. It's funded by drug monies allocated to the area by the U.S. government, where I sit on a committee that distributes that money from Del Rio down to Brownsville. Now, if I have a federal task force looking at public corruption, Why would you want me to spend $500,000 to $750,000 for lawyers sitting around and investigators waiting for somebody to come out and swear a complaint? I need those monies in the courtroom, fighting the regular cases and domestic violence and capital murder and sexual assault and what have you. Now, when he talks about the Panama unit, it sounds good. What did he say? You should go out and investigate the victims of those crimes. Well, go look at the record. The victims of those crimes were drug dealers, most of them. Why would you want